It's always an honor to rise and again speak on an issue close to my heart and to the next generation of young Canadians, which of course is the issue of housing and the lack of housing in Canada. Now, Build Canada Homes, this new bureaucracy, is emblematic of what's wrong with government thinking these days. It's what's wrong with Liberal plans these days. For every problem, a new government-driven response. Childhood nutrition problems, government-run lunch program. Bad actors on the internet, government-run censorship programs. Lack of housing supply, not one, not two, not even three, but 4 government-run bureaucracies. If any of these Liberal solutions worked, Mr. Speaker, after 10 years, we would have seen things improve. But in fact, in housing, the opposite has taken place. It is now more difficult than it has ever been in Canadian history for the next generation to own a home anywhere in Canada. Now, even if we thought another government bureaucracy was the solution, Build Canada Homes won't fix our housing woes. That's because this bureaucracy's stated objective is only with respect to non-market housing. Now, that means affordable housing and at non-market rates. That means for most Canadians, most middle-income Canadians or higher, will see zero benefit from this new bureaucracy. Estimates suggest that this new bureaucracy will deliver only between 1% and 2% of the needed new home supply. So, Mr. Speaker, even at full capacity, the non-market focus would therefore only address a tiny fraction of the overall supply gap in Canada. The Canadian Home Builders Association agrees, Mr. Speaker, and they said, quote, "With the non-market housing focus of BCH, it will only impact a small fragment of what will be required to achieve the government's 500,000 homes per year target." How about unimaginable speeds, Mr. Speaker? The only thing that this budget could point to with respect to housing was the selection of certain sites for construction, maybe sometime in the future, a few hundred homes in the north, maybe in the future, and a few hundred in Toronto, maybe in the future. That's a far cry from the 500,000 new homes that their own housing agency says need to be built in Canada, and that's just to get us back to 2019 affordability levels. In fact, the government's own housing bureaucracy just this week said that housing starts are actually down again year over year. CMHC reported this week that housing starts are 3% down year over year. So my question to the Parliamentary Secretary, can she please try and explain how a new government bureaucracy that only builds non-market homes at unimaginably slow speeds will allow the next generation to afford a home in Canada?
The Honourable Parliament Secretary to the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Government of Canada is taking action to build the infrastructure communities need and to make housing more affordable for Canadians. Budget 2025, Canada Strong, delivers generational investments to meet these goals. It includes $51 billion for a new infrastructure program, with $17 billion dedicated to housing-enabling infrastructure. And this will allow cuts to development charges that will significantly bring down the cost of housing for Canadians. We are also addressing the housing crisis head-on with the recent launch of Build Canada Homes. This new federal agency will finance and build affordable housing at scale. It will leverage public lands, offer flexible financial incentives, attract private capital, facilitate large portfolio projects, and support manufacturers to build the homes that Canadians need. Build Canada Homes will prioritize large-scale, long-term solutions to build on the successes of existing housing initiatives with a Team Canada approach. These programs include the Affordable Housing Fund and the Apartment Construction Loan Program, which have built hundreds of thousands of new homes and repaired hundreds of thousands more. We've also seen how the $4.4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund is eliminating barriers to development. So far, we've signed agreements with more than 240 communities across the country that have committed to cutting red tape and streamlining the development process. The Government of Canada is dedicated to making Canada's housing market work better for everyone. We're focused on affordability, and we're building a stronger Canada. We're not stopping there. the federal government is also reducing barriers to home ownership so that young people aren't priced out of the housing market. Measures like the tax-free first home savings account and the home buyers plan help Canadians save for their first home. And we've also made changes to mortgage financing rules to help more buyers qualify. And importantly, we're eliminating the goods and service tax, GST, for the first time on home buyers of new homes at or under $1 million and reducing the GST on new homes up to $1.5 million. Young Canadians deserve the same opportunities that previous generations enjoyed, and we're making that happen. The Government of Canada will continue to work closely with home builders, Indigenous partners, and all levels of government to deliver results. We are putting affordability front and center, and we will innovate, invest, and remove barriers so that every Canadian can find a place to call home.
The honourable member for York Durham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If only saying generational again and again and again built homes, we wouldn't be here tonight having this discussion. But we know it doesn't build homes. And in fact, we know that the next generation is having the most difficult time in history owning a home. The parliamentary secretary, she said that she didn't want the next generation priced out of the market. Well, newsflash, they are priced out of the market. The average salary in Canada no longer buys the average home in Canada. Young Canadians just want the same opportunity that their parents and their grandparents had to work hard and have the opportunity to buy a home. Does the parliamentary secretary agree with me that the average salary in Canada should buy the average home in Canada and admit that 10 years of Liberal proposals have done nothing to make that better?
The Honourable Parliament Secretary, the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, this government is focused on restoring affordability and lowering housing costs. Build Canada Homes will build and finance affordable housing by partnering with builders and housing providers that are focused on long-term affordability. It will prioritize Canadian-made materials and modern methods of construction, such as factory-built housing, to catalyze a new Canadian housing industry, one that builds faster and more sustainably. We are working closely with provinces, territories, municipalities, and Indigenous communities to improve affordability and build the supply that Canada needs. The government is committed to making housing more affordable and more attainable while growing the strength and resilience of Canada's economy at the same time. Because every Canadian deserves a place to call home so they can focus on building a successful future for themselves and for their families.